Hello there. Welcome to the Craig Kenneth Show.
This is Coach Victoria.
And this is Coach Craig Kenneth. And today we have a caller with us that's going to be talking about an issue that's been going on in her on and off relationship of a couple of years. Sometimes people don't want to commit or they can't make a decision and they keep coming back in and out of our life. And it causes a lot of confusion, a lot of hurt, and a lot of pain.
Right? And sometimes that back and forth can then become the status quo. So making a decision feels more uncomfortable.
So today we have Nikki, which rhymes with Vicky, on the line with us, and she is in her early 50s. Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay, great. So how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm really excited about this. Thank you for having me.
We're happy to have you on. Could you tell us a little bit about what's been going on in your situation and help us understand what you're going through?
Yes. So there's a long story, but the short version of the long story is that I met a man. He's about the same age as me. He's a couple of years younger. He we met online 2 years ago.
Okay.
At the beginning when we first met, it was kind of hot and heavy in the emotional department. And almost like we jumped into the emotional part very quickly. Just felt very natural, very at home. Um, and we saw each other all the time. 2 summers ago, we saw each
Okay.
other on a daily basis. We had a couple of sleepovers. It was really not not an a physically intimate relationship for a while. So that part wasn't a factor for a while.
Okay.
Eventually it was. Um, a couple of months later, so I never stopped dating. I was always dating other people because he knew that if he wanted to be exclusive with me, he could let me know that. He
Okay.
never felt like that was his place. He would always say to me, "That's not my place to let you know. When you feel like that, then you should just stop dating other people." I always
Okay.
felt like he should tell me when he was ready for that because I wasn't sure if he was ready. He was just out of a marriage.
Man,
Okay,
so
that's important.
Yes.
both of you are kind of on the same boat there of not wanting to maybe bring this up too directly or
Yep.
demand an answer because you were trying to wait on the other. So interesting.
Yes.
Now, when you say he was just coming out of a marriage, can you give us a little idea what was going on there?
Yes. So when I met him, he was just separated for a year. Um,
Okay.
he's very, very aware. He's very emotionally intelligent. He knew that he was ready. He thought at least that he was ready to date at the time, and that he was completely finished with that marriage. But it was just logistics.
Well, okay. And how long was the marriage roughly?
About 10 years.
Okay. And he was about a year out.
About, yes.
So that's tough because you come out of a long-term relationship like that. A lot of times people need some time to be single, to be alone, to decompress, to kind of find themselves again. And so rushing into something new often leads to someone with a broken heart.
Yes, I
And it's
feel.
usually not them.
Right. And
It's,
a year of separation that could still be considered that adjustment period.
yeah.
Now he had kids.
He has a child, yes, one.
Okay. And what about you?
Yes, I have 3 children and they're grown.
Okay.
His
Okay. So in the beginning, he's coming on strong. He's excited. He's found somebody that he's really attracted to, feels a strong connection with, and you guys are seeing each other often. So how did things go from there?
So we did a lot of seeing each other at the beginning, and then at the very beginning his son was away for summer. And then when his son got back from the summer break, we saw each other less. It was fine. He just had an issue introducing me to him. Like he didn't want to introduce me to his son, which I completely understand. I had no interest in introducing him or anyone else to my children either, even though
Sure.
mine are.
And you guys weren't exclusive either yet. So
Yes, I had no interest in that. I wasn't pressing for that. It was just, it was emotional for him on that end because he grew up in a similar situation with divorced parents, and his father protected him the same way he's protecting his son, which I appreciate.
sure. Yeah, you want to look out for the kids. They get attached to somebody and then, have people coming in and out of their life and they get hurt. They're sad and they miss that person. It's tough.
I feel like there was a breaking point though. I think that the turning point for the bad part was when he reached out to me one night. I was on a date because I was not stopping to date until he asked me to stop. And
Hmm.
um, he realized I was on a date, and he was really taken aback. I mean, he knew in his head that I was still dating, but to actually realize I was on a date really hurt him.
That hit him.
And
Yeah.
That's a real wake-up call.
Yeah.
and he turned, and it kind of, I wouldn't say turned him off, because he's to this day still reaching out, but it scared him. I should mention that in his long-term relationship, in his marriage, he was betrayed.
Mm.
Okay. Now, you mean physically his wife was having an affair on him?
Yes.
Okay.
And was he shocked by that, or did he feel like it was
He
maybe
was devastated.
coming?
He was devastated. Not that he knew. They're very good people. They happen to be incredibly good people, both of them,
Mhm.
and like very kind and respectful, even of each other. Even in this situation, it wasn't done with bad intentions. It was just the way that the people happened to be in this situation. So while he was devastated. I believe he tried to work on the marriage. I believe he was trying to work past it for the sake of his son. And yeah, they ended up divorcing eventually.
Okay.
So I imagine him hearing about the date, that in itself might have been re-triggering for him.
Yeah.
Or, triggering some of that trauma that he experienced, or betrayal trauma.
In hindsight, I agree.
Mhm.
And I didn't I feel bad that I did that, and I should have taken that into consideration, that he has that baggage that you can't overlook.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, but you
Yeah.
guys were on the same page, so at least you had been honest and upfront about it. It wasn't that you were doing
Yes.
something secretive.
Mhm.
Yes,
But
yes.
sometimes people feel like it's gonna go one way until it actually happens.
Right.
It reminds me of the Mike Tyson quote, "Everybody's got a plan till you punch them in the face." You know what I'm saying? You get hit with that reality.
Mhm.
Like, whoa, she's actually on a date. I knew
Mhm.
she was going on dates, but when I wanted to talk to her.
And it can be hard when you're dating somebody but not exclusively to know what's appropriate to disclose or not. If you have, I don't know, a date on Saturday, do you say I'm going out with a friend, or do you say, yeah, I have a date, right?
I always told the truth. He always knew where I was.
Mhm.
And that's great. It's just that some people can't handle it,
Yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
So at that point, I felt like he could have said to me, I don't want you to date other people. But he didn't.
Yes, you have a good point. He could have said, I don't like the way this is going or that I'm feeling about it.
Mhm.
I want to be exclusive. I don't want you to date anyone else.
Right. And he knows I'm a monogamous person. He knows I'm a person who would like to be in a relationship. I'd like to be married again someday.
Mhm.
He knows this. And while that's what he ultimately is looking for, I think in this moment that scares him.
Mhm.
Okay. And so around what time frame was that?
So
How long?
yes, so that happened probably 6 months into it.
Mhm.
Okay. And that's when it starts to kind of often shift from that, excitement phase to like long lasting attachment and
Mhm.
long-term relationships. So,
Yeah. I'm also think he might have also been wanting you to say, "Hey, I'm done dating other people. I
Yes.
want to, be more committed to you and more serious about this." But it sounds like both of you were waiting for the other to make that kind of a move.
Yes,
Oh,
that sounds right.
I want to ask, what was the fear there
For who? For me?
for both of you, if you had to guess?
So for me, it wasn't fear. It was really just the masculine and feminine energy that I really appreciate in relationships. I'm very traditional, role oriented. I feel like it was his space to tell me when he was ready to be exclusive with me. It wasn't so much physically, I was always exclusive with him. He knew that. He knew that if there was ever going to be anything physical happening with anyone else, that I would let him know. I would never do that with two people at once. That's unacceptable to me, and it wouldn't be acceptable from me. And
so
so,
there's a lot of clarity.
Mhm.
There's no confusion here in
Right.
a lot of ways. So that's great.
yes, I was very upfront. He was very upfront. He's very, very honest. And it was just, so for me, it wasn't fear. It was just a matter of, I felt like it was his part. And
Mhm.
while he's very much a man, he's also a bit of, I mean, I hate to even use this term in this situation, but I feel like he was a bit of a feminist in that he wanted me to be empowered and to say, you know, to say it myself or to ask for it myself. And I really didn't feel like that was my place.
Now, I imagine that the two of you had talked about that exact thing.
We did.
Okay, and his
Okay,
stance
so he
remains.
knew that you expected him to.
He knew. I
Because
said,
a lot of
"Mom."
women,
Mhm.
sorry, a lot of women will communicate that they want the relationship to go to the next level.
Mhm.
But if you would let him know that you don't, and for you, you wanted him to do it, then that's different.
Mhm.
Right. So I told him that I am ready for that if he wants that, but that he would have to let me know.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. And you wanted to hear,
I
that's what I want.
Mm-hmm.
It's
That's
how
what
I
you were
wanted
hoping
it to
for.
be. And it's
Right.
really very simple. It was like 5 words. It wasn't like a big,
Mhm.
to do. It was just I'd really like to only date you. And
You
I
can
would
even
be
get it down to
so
3.
happy.
I want exclusivity.
Exactly.
Although that third one is a long word.
You could you could go down to one, just exclusivity.
Exclusive? Us? We?
Charades.
We or you? Caveman talk.
Now, did he say he was also dating others?
So he never verbalized that, although I do know that he went on some dates, like a coffee date here or a dinner date there or a lunch date, but I don't believe that he ever dated anyone else. I should mention that during these 2 years, I did date somebody else. Um,
Okay. And
more than
how was
more
that
than
after you guys had like stopped seeing each other, or what was going on there?
it was in the one of the off times. So it wasn't like we discussed, okay, so we're not going to see each other now. We're open to date other people. We were always open to dating other people. But but at that time there was a gap of about 3 months that
Mhm.
we didn't speak, or he tried to reach out and it was just very, indirect, direct. Um, so during that time is when I dated somebody else for 3 months. I should also mention that it never went to the physical end with him either because I was very stuck on this one.
The
And
bottom line is you really wanted to be. Did we give him a name? Can we give him a name? Give him a name.
Gary.
I was just thinking Gary.
Gary?
How
may
crazy.
not
I was
call
literally going to say Gary. That is really bizarre. Gary it is.
Gary it is.
So, okay. The bottom line is you always wanted to be exclusive with Gary. He knew that. He just wasn't stepping up in the way that you were hoping he would.
Well, and one thing that's important to understand about betrayal trauma is that his trust has been deeply affected, right? So it probably has taken a lot for him to get as close as he did with you and being able to let you know, hey, I'm ready to be committed to you. That for somebody who had been betrayed is probably a much greater step than just your average Joe Schmo or your average Gary.
Sure. Your average Gary. That's what we're going to call this video. Okay. So what happened then?
Okay, so so he throughout these 2 years, he always takes time to reach out to me every once in a while. It used to be much more consistent than it is today, but
Mhm.
it used to be not more consistent. It's pretty consistent still, but it used to be much more often than it is today, meaning like once a week, or really try to reach me if I was ignoring him or whatever it was. Now it's more like every couple weeks to a month, he sends me a message. Um, I should note that there is a time, like once a month, we have a book club that we meet at, and we've always met at this book club. And now it becomes a thing where he looks for me there. So
Mm.
so it's a set time and a set date. So I've tried not to go to this book club a few times here and there. And I skipped last month's book club. Another one is coming up soon. Um, and he reaches
You're
out to
hoping you're hoping he'll escalate
Well,
and
he
help.
he shows up to them for sure because he lets me know that he's there, or he lets
Mhm.
me know that he was there, or he lets me know that he missed me there. Um, but I'm also trying to just save myself from this. I don't want to continue with the breadcrumbing. It's not that I'm just trying to get him to escalate because yeah, that would be great, but that's not the goal here is just to protect myself. Enough is enough. I don't
Mhm.
want to continue forever. I want to move on if it's not with him.
Yeah.
And this is something that a lot of couples experience, dating somebody who has experienced that type of betrayal. A lot of times you get some things projected onto you that, you have no responsibility for. So, not saying here that he does trust you, he doesn't trust you, we don't know Gary, but, it sounds like that experience, his divorce is impacting him in a way that's impacting you now.
Yes.
Okay. So what happened? How did things continue to go?
Okay, so So we're kind of at the place. So okay, on 2 occasions I met his child. He After book club, he invited me to his house when his child was there, which I knew. It was just, almost like a soft introduction, and just brought me in. We played games, we looked at things, we spoke for a few minutes, we played with the animals that they have, the pets, and I left. And that happened twice.
And how long ago was the first time?
The first time was probably a year ago, so about 1 year into it, and the second time was a few months ago.
Wow.
Mm.
Man, he is slow.
And he's
Interesting.
very patient.
Gary is a snail in SpongeBob, so
That is true.
we've got a snail here.
He's
Are
a
you
very
sure it's-
patient man, I have to
Does he
say.
sound like this?
A little bit, actually. He's very, very patient. He's very, very soft. He's very spiritual, so he believes that if it's meant to be, it will be. He's he's very sentimental. He'll always send me our song. He'll always he remembers everything. He's very romantic. He's so many good things. It's just not apparently not ready, or not ready to be with me.
Mm.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. So yeah, it's interesting that there was such a big long gap between meeting the son and then again, like almost a year, it sounds like
Mhm.
pretty close to a year.
Yes. So it was about a year. I think it was just a matter of um it happened to be that his son was with him on those days when book club took place, and then we
Mhm.
met at there, and then he, I guess, didn't want the evening to end, so he invited me over, even though it was just with his son, which I thought was very sweet. Like, I was really expecting after meeting with his son that he would call me and say, that went really well. I'm really happy you met him, which he did not do.
Now, I imagine that his ex-wife is the mother of his son?
Yes.
Okay.
Roughly how old is his son? You don't have to get the exact age.
He's preteen. He's,
Okay. All
yeah.
right. So not too little where they get attached and,
Mhm.
be sad and crying,
Mhm.
because it's can be tough for little kids.
Yeah. But I imagine a year of being a single dad, you're probably still getting used to those experiences, going places with just you and your son now meeting the new people in your life. I could see that being a gradual process and an emotional one.
Yeah.
Just like in breakups, there's a lot of firsts that you experience after divorce, after separation. There's a lot
Yeah,
of firsts that you experience.
sure.
He said to me once, he said to me, I'm not ready for you to sleep over on a day when he's here. That is not something that I would ever even recommend or
It's a
suggest.
big jump.
Mhm.
How we get there, Gary?
I have no idea how he got there, but that is not something that I would want either. I'm very aware, and I would not want to put his child in that situation. I wouldn't want to put myself in that situation.
Mhm.
I wouldn't put my own children in that situation. So I said that to him, like, where are you going with this? All I wanted was to just maybe like get ice cream or whatever it is, with if
Mhm.
he's with you. And if he's not and if he's and when he's with you, you don't want to spend time with me on those weeks, that's fine. I have no
Mhm.
problem. I just like,
Sure.
I need consistency, and I say that to him on a regular basis. If you're gonna I just want consistency, even if it's just touching base every day just to say hi on the days we can't see each other. But on the weeks that we
Mhm.
can, I need to see somebody a couple times a week at least.
What does he say when you bring that up to him?
He just basically says he understands me completely and he agrees, but he almost like is very standoffish, and he doesn't want he says that he's not ready for that kind of a commitment.
Mm.
Have you asked him what kind of commitment are you ready for?
He says ultimately he's looking for what I'm looking for, which is a long-term relationship. He may or may not want to get married again. He truthfully didn't He's not big on marriage to begin with. He's very spiritual. Again, it's not a religious thing for him. For me, it's more important. Um, I'm fine without a legal marriage myself. I'm okay with just like a spiritual ceremony, something to kind of solidify our relationship once I meet the right person. But I'm not so I think that he thinks that I'm ready to get married today. He thinks that I'm ready, which I'm not, and I've conveyed that to him, but I don't think he believes that. I have to mention one more
He
thing.
wants to get garried.
I I have to mention one more thing. So I came out of a long-term marriage, where I was very well taken care of financially. And I think he has a lot of insecurity about that.
A lot of guys would.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of guys would, because they would feel like, I can't give you that kind of lifestyle. I can't give you those things.
Right. But I've conveyed to him, while I love nice things, it's not something that it's not something, I didn't grow up like that. I'm not like, that's just something that happened to happen in my marriage. I'm not looking for that necessarily. I got divorced because of other reasons. If I wanted to stay with money, I would have just stayed in the marriage.
Sure.
It was
Okay.
about the emotional part that was missing, and I found that in him. And I don't care that he has a great job. It's not like he doesn't work, and he's a family man. He has a home. He's very well put together. I think he's just worried that he can't provide for me in the way he a lot of times he said to me, and I'm quoting, "I'm not what you're looking for."
Mm.
How do you know what I'm looking for? I'm looking to get Garried, and you're the only Gary I know, so.
Funny. Yeah, I've asked him that. He says it's based on the things I've said.
And
I
I
don't.
might have misspoke earlier by using the word fear. I see now that it's probably more of a caution. It sounds like you have this caution of, not wanting to push too far, being sensitive to the things that he's been through. And then on his end, it sounds like he has his own fears based on the things that he's been through. So I can see more clearly now where those roadblocks are. And it sounds like you're getting to that point. You're not going to these book clubs. There's that part of you that wants him to escalate or wants him to just, get out of the picture so that you can move on and make a decision here.
Yep.
Well,
I
and the
do.
other thing that happens is that frustration builds up on both ends. For you, it's like, is this ever going to go anywhere? I've tried to be patient for a couple of years here, but it's not really moving in any kind of direction. I was hoping him seeing me out with other people might spark something or motivate him. And then for him, he's knowing that he can't give you what he wants. And so he probably feels guilty about that.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's eating him up. Like, I know she wants more. I'm not there, and I don't want to hurt her or disappoint her. She deserves somebody that can give her those things.
Yeah, and betrayal, that would make anybody avoidant at least for a little while.
Yes. Well, I just want to figure out a way that I can get out of this rut where when he reaches out, I don't want to push him away, and I never want to ignore him because I care for him. He's a good person. He's doing it out of his whole heart when he reaches out. I know he wants to see me. I see how sensitive he is and how um he would love to see me. I just don't know what his blockage is.
That's a tough call.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, okay. So it sounds like you're gonna get to that point where you're like, either he's got to step up here and do something, or I have to let this go.
Right. Well, I'm dating actively, which obviously I'm sure he is too at this point. Um,
Have you ever asked him that?
if he is, yes, I know he goes on a date here and there. I don't think he's dating anybody seriously. I mean, I imagine he's not. He's reaching out to me every few weeks, with very sentimental things. And the very last thing that happened, he had messaged me, you know, he messaged that he messaged me a video of our song. And I said, and I did not respond to it. I was on a date when he'd messaged it, so I didn't
You sense
respond
the
to it.
disturbance in the force.
He always does. It's unbelievable.
He may just have a tracker on your car
Oh
also.
no, that he does not. That's so funny. That's funny.
You better have someone search the car.
Oh my God, that's true. I'm gonna check. So
You're like, every single time. How does he know?
that's
He's,
so
he's
funny.
following you. He's got a little hat on and glasses.
So I did not respond to him, and he wrote back something like, that song hits hard. And I said that song used to hit hard for me too. I said it like in the past tense.
Yeah.
And he wrote that it actually still does for me. And that was really it. We haven't spoken since. So I'm
What do you think? This is just a hypothetical. I'm not suggesting that you do this, but
yes.
what do you think would happen if you were to tell him, "Hey, I am ready to move this forward. I decided I'm not dating anybody else. I want to ask where you stand and if you're ready to commit at this point." If you were to just say it that directly, how do you think he would respond to that?
I don't know. That's a very good question. I don't know if I could do that at this point because we're not dating at this point.
Hmm.
But I could say some, I mean, I like to know what I could say as a question, like what, something like, what's with the reaching out? Like, what do you want?
Okay. Here's what I would try.
Mhm.
First, I would do it as a little bit of a takeaway, but my first thing might be, Gary, we've been talking for a couple of years now, and I'm just a little bit confused as to what you're wanting. And I'd stay quiet and see what he's going to say to that. Like,
Yeah.
allow him to say what he wants or doesn't want. And then if it doesn't line up in some kind of way that you're hoping for, I might say, I'm hoping for something different, and I understand you might not be ready for that, but when you keep reaching out to me, it keeps me stuck. So I really would rather you just reached out if you know you want to persist or pursue this in some way.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's really good. Good job. Thank you. Wait, like a
Mhm.
month ago or so, a month ago, he messaged me asking me if I'd ever been to this one specific location, like a restaurant, but it's more of like a show restaurant. He asked me if I'd ever been there. I said no, and he said, "Would you like to go sometime?" And I wrote, "I would love that. That would feel really good to go sometime."
Yeah.
That was it. He dropped it. The next thing was
Oh man.
a book club thing. That was the next
He's like,
thing.
I didn't mean with me.
Well, I didn't say I'd love to go with you sometime. I did say I'd love to go sometime. So I didn't mean with him
Yeah,
either.
fine. If we're gonna mince words, I'll mince words too.
And in this situation, I'm seeing that he's so hurt that his hurt is spilling over and affecting you. That is really how I see it. And I imagine that for him, it's probably incredibly painful for him to deeply want connection, for him to want maybe a stepmother for his son, for somebody to be involved in his life and for him to have those nice feelings of connection again, but then to also be terrified of what could happen given what he's been through. So I imagine that this is really tough on him, but I agree that at this point, it's affecting you to where you have to make a decision. I know you said earlier that you're traditional and you prefer kind of the man to be the pursuer here. An important piece of that is if you notice somebody's not pursuing, then
Yeah, absolutely.
position yourself to a place where somebody could pursue.
Well, I wish he wouldn't pursue. I wish he would never reach out. The problem is that he is constantly throwing breadcrumbs.
Mhm.
Well, I think that's why you have to say something
Yes, I think that was
along the lines of like, look,
Mhm.
I'm confused as to why you keep reaching out, and see what he says. Be
yes.
like, what is it that you're wanting here? Give him an opportunity to say something. And I don't know, maybe it'd be better if you did it in person as opposed to text message or something like that. How long has it been since you've seen him in person?
In person, it's been a couple of months.
So maybe in person is the way to go.
Or even a phone call.
It's up to you,
Yeah.
but I think I would just
So I
ask
should,
an open-ended question as to what he's wanting. Does he see this going anywhere? And then just say, if he says no or he's not ready, I'd say, I wouldn't put the ultimatum on him. I would say, I can't do this. I can't keep doing this like this. I've been patient. I would love to have an opportunity with you to see where this goes, but you need to want that. So why don't you reach out to me if you'd like to at least see this going in some kind of momentum? You don't have to be like all in. You don't have
Mhm.
to get garried,
yes.
You could go out and just go on some dates and just say, I'm looking for more than what we've had. And if you can't give me more than what we've had, then I have to back away and please just reach out only if you want to see me more.
Right. And the difficult part is we don't know how much of this is actually part of his attachment style, part of his personality, or if it's attributed to the divorce and, what he's just been through. So that's the other
Or
tough
his
part.
interest level.
That as well.
We don't want to ignore the interest level. I mean,
Mhm.
sometimes people aren't as authentic as you are hoping or thinking they are,
Mhm.
and their words and their actions won't line up. And it can be tough to navigate and tell the difference, but sometimes you just have to bottom line it
Mhm.
on what's going on with you and how their behavior is impacting you.
Yes.
And I think you're getting to that point where you have to decide how it's impacting you. And regardless of, he may have tremendous feelings for you and think about you all the time, but at the end of the day, if it doesn't get anywhere that makes you any happier, then you're just going to be hurting and suffering and unhappy.
Mhm.
Right. Right.
So I think that would be my approach.
That's a great plan.
Any other thoughts or questions?
No, I imagine that when I do this, little thing to him, when I ask him, where not ask him, but where I tell him what I'm feeling and where I stand and tell him that I'm confused about why he reaches out. I imagine that he would just say something along the lines of, "Well, I just heard the song and it reminded me of you," or "I saw this thing and it reminded me of you."
And say, well, I appreciate you thinking about me, but
Mhm.
I think at that point you're gonna say, but you can't just keep reaching out because it
Mhm.
keeps me stuck and feeling like this is gonna go somewhere, and it doesn't seem like you want that.
Right. And if somebody is vague and evasive and not answering your questions, you could choose to repeat your question. And at a certain point, if they are crafty at avoiding questions, you might have to take that as your answer.
Yes. And I'm ready for that. I'm ready to take that as my answer. I just don't want to be in the in between anymore.
Mhm. And you can say that. I
Yeah,
think
I don't
that
blame
that
you.
statement right there is a perfect way to explain how you're feeling. I don't want to be in the in between.
Right. I
Mhm.
feel like I would be okay. I can move on. It's not a problem. I just need to know that I need to that I that this is over. I need to know one way or the other.
Mhm.
Um, Finding someone else is not an issue. It's just I would love it to be him. And if it cannot be him, I will move on.
Okay, well, you got a lot to think about and consider here.
Yes.
Just understand that when you have that talk, it might mean that he doesn't reach out after that, and kind of mentally prepare yourself for that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So make sure you're ready when you finally do that, because you don't want to change your mind and flip flop and then go chasing him.
Mhm.
Sometimes
I
people
will
do
not do
that.
that. I promise. I may
Okay.
change my mind, but I will not chase him.
And I think this also highlights the importance of taking the time to heal, especially after separation, especially after divorce, to really be aware of the ways that, the way you date might be affecting other people. Because I imagine that there's others in the situation, maybe others watching have recently got out of a relationship and they're in a similar situation, but on the flip side. So, be able to be aware, be honest, be direct with people, and also allow people to make choices, allow people to, find others that are ready and that are prepared, right? So,
All right. Well, we appreciate you being on the call with us today,
Thank you. It was wonderful. Thank you so much.
and maybe you'll give us an update in the future
I will. I absolutely will. Thank
if
you.
you ever get Garried to
Thank
him or another Gary.
you.
We'll have a bunch of Garys writing in the comment section.
I
Gary
don't know.
available here in Indiana, Gary over here in Albuquerque.
That's very funny.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.